Hello. No camera right now, since my phone is about to die. I use my phone for my camera. Posado Cordis. Not dating that creepy guy. Sorry, I'm like, who knows? Maybe you're an Our Life fan and you don't know what that is. It's a Yandere. It was a Yandere visual novel that made me so uncomfortable. Uh, you can watch the VOD for it. All right, this is Our Life Beginnings and Always. You already know that. We're on. What VOD is this? What VOD is this? I forgot what VOD it is. No. What VOD? What number? Oh, this is 12. 12. I forgot. We finished Charity. And we have more others to do. So I guess Drive we can do. Like a lazy cat, you stretch your arms above your head and yawned, blinking your eyes sleepily. The day was warm and pleasant. You're lounging on the couch, in the living room, finding it difficult to do much in that moment. Moms and Liz had gone out shopping, looking for some new items for your sister to take back and decorate her college dorm with. They asked if you wanted to go with them, but you declined. For you, today was all about relaxation. Cove had dropped by to spend some time with you, content to join in with doing nothing. The two of you had been chatting idly as you lazied around, talking about the other things you had planned for the summer. Cuddled on the couch. He had an arm loosely slung around your shoulders and his head dipped down against you, while you were nestled against his side, enjoying the comfort of his company. The day dragged on, and you found yourself yawning more and more often between conversations. You had almost, sorry. You had almost dozed off completely when suddenly a buzz rang out, disturbing the silence. Your phone was on its charger in the kitchen, so it couldn't have been that. Cove pulled his phone from his back pocket and checked the screen. His movement had jostled you, so he tried to readjust your positions to get it right again. Oh, it's my mom. After leaning forward and setting the phone on the coffee table in front of him, Cove hit the speaker button. Hey, what's up? Snow is here too.
Hi.
Oh, I don't remember the hair and step free. Hi, Cove. Hello, Snow. I don't know. You're interrupting our very important do nothing time, you know? Hey, Mom 3. You knew your fondness was making Cove regret putting on speaker, but you were alright with that. Cove, baby, I want to ask if you have a plan for all your junk. Cove made a small, outraged grumble, giving you a sidelong glance. It's not junk, it's important. Though you couldn't see it, you could tell by the sound of her voice that Kairos was smiling. So is that a yes or no about the plan? Cove looked over at you, his mouth pulled into a tight smile. Still thinking about it, Snow. But I'm gonna take the phone off speaker so me and Mom can go over this. It'll be quick. Cove carefully moved you off him and took the phone from the table before pushing himself to his feet. He had the speaker button again to turn it off and continued the conversation with his mom as he headed towards the door. The lock clicked behind him as he exited the house, and you sank back into the cushions, idly trying to decide what to do next. I don't know what they're doing. After electing to grab your own phone from its charger, you zoomed your position on the couch, tapping away at the screen. Your mind drifted away from the thoughts of Cove and his phone call with all the many ways your device could distract you. It was an effective way to kill the time, and he managed to do various little things when the door opened again and Cove returned. He gave you a smile as he approached, so you figured the conversation couldn't have gone too bad. As you watched Crove? Yeah, his name is Crove now. His name is Crove. You watched as Cove strolled over to where you were still sitting. He crossed his arms against the top corner of the couch, resting on them while bending towards to lightly kiss the top of your head.
Hey.
I'm back. Tilt their head to give him a small kiss. He met your lips with his, closing his eyes and letting you kiss him longer than the one he had given just prior. So good or bad news? Yeah, he's like, no, I don't want you to ask that. He turned his head silently, running a hand through his hair and laying out an exasperated breath. He seemed nervous, but you couldn't imagine why.
Fine.
It's fine, it's not anything to worry about. You raise an eyebrow at his tone, moving your head to the side to try and meet his eye. That doesn't explain what's going on. He shrugged and gave you a tight smile, trying to play whatever it actually was off as unimportant. There's nothing going on, just stuff I can deal with later, some other time. Alright. You don't want to tell me. Alright, yeah. You want to keep secrets from your boyfriend. Yeah, I see how it is. Transparently avoided telling the truth, and you stared back at him seriously, an indication that you weren't going to ignore what he was doing. Eventually, he broke beneath your stare, his head hanging in his hands and groaning. Need to make another trip to my mom's place. There's some stuff out there I'm gonna use. I'll have to pick it up. It makes sense to ship it. And I couldn't bring the stuff back with me last time since I flew. Oh. I bet that sucks. He's like, oh god, I have to leave again. Leave again! Fuck you, Mom! Alright. Suddenly understood what the phone conversation had been about. Cove was gonna drive to his mom's house in Nevada. When will you go? I guess Nevada to... or Southern California to Southern Nevada is not horrible drive, but still probably not good. Yeah, it's the next state over. But I understand. I understand a lot. Still probably a long drive. Don't know where exactly she lives. Mom thinks it's best to do it now while I'm still kind of free, but he pouted, giving you an unhappy look. You could see the prospect was still taking a toll on him. I don't want to. I was just there, and for even longer than usual. Why'd I have to leave right now when it's our last summer like this? I don't want you to go to either. You laughed, not knowing why he was being so difficult about it. I don't know if I'll maybe do this. I don't know. I don't want you to go to either. Is there another way to get your stuff? Could she drop it off instead? I don't think so. Looking up again, you met his bright aquamarine eyes, finding a sad smile tugging on his lips. Oh. Suddenly, his eyebrows jumped and his eyes lit up like a lamp. You should come with me. I don't know why, but the stare, like, kind of seems... I don't know. You can come with me. What? You should come with me. I mean, I get that the two of us live next door to each other and my mom lives in another state. My trips there are usually to spend time with her, just the two of us. But this time it won't be like that. All I'm gonna do is drive over, stay for a night, then pack up the car in the morning and turn around again. Most of the time will be spent in the car, so it'll be good to have another person there. Plus, you'd have the chance to see my mom again in her place. Maybe we could find something cool to break at on the way. You couldn't stop yourself from laughing at his enthusiasm. He blushed a little, reining himself in. I just feel like it could be fun. Please, could you think about it? I'd love to. When do we leave? I'll have to let my moms know. But as long as we've got nothing else important on the days we pick, then there's no reason I won't be able to go. He grinned from ear to ear, relieved by the news. He put his hands on your cheeks, giving your face a kiss all over. Yeah, I know. I always paraphrase what it says because I realize I'm speaking weirdly. I'm saying things that don't exist, so I just do that. Having to bend down far to do so, but he didn't mind it a bit. Then he wrapped his arms around your neck, laying out a happy sigh. I'm so glad. Alright, interrupting me, Cove. The narrator. Me, the narrator. How dare you? Fuck. I actually don't want to say that. I'm so glad. This is so great. I'll call my mom back and let her know right now. We spent some time together going over your schedules and making plans for when you could take the trip. You needed to fit it around Cove's work schedule, which he brought up on his phone to double check. Luckily, it was only a 2-day trip, so finding a couple free days in a row wasn't impossible. It was long before the dates were finally set and all the plans were made. Content with the plans. It would be a good chance for you to get out and see more of the country, and it wasn't much of an inconvenience. No matter what you thought about things, the morning when you were due to leave arrived. It was cooler than usual, the sun barely peeking over the top of the houses. Stood outside your house, on the footpath near the road, waiting for Cove. You yawned loudly, covering your mouth with the back of your hand. Mornings were always a struggle. With your travel bag clutched in one hand, you watched as Cove finished packing up his car. He had organized all sorts of things, water bottles, snacks, and who knows what else. Cove insisted he had everything under control and didn't need any help. At least you could rest easy, knowing that it was all taken care of. As you waited, you glanced over at Cove's car. You know it well. It used to belong to Mr. Holden, and when Cove had learned to drive it past to him, his dad had taken the opportunity to get a newer one. It was pretty old at this point, but had served both of them well so far. You just I can't speak. You just hope it had enough life left in it to survive a trip as long as the one you were embarking on. The slam of a door closing made you jump. You snapped back to focus and saw Cove walking towards you. He dusted his hands off on his pants and tilted his head towards the car. That's it, ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready. He smiled and stepped aside, giving you space to situate your own bag where you wanted it. Once everything was safely inside, he glanced back at you.
All right.
Should get started. It's gonna be a ways to go. pog, I get you. He seemed surprised, but chuckled and returned the gesture. It couldn't last for long, though. Time was of the essence. The two of you climbed into the car and buckled up. Cove in the driver's seat and you sitting shotgun. His eyes moved to you.
Thank you.
Thanks again for coming on this trip with me. Hey, I'm doing this for me too. It'll be fun. After checking the mirrors and starting the engine, you pull out of the driveway and the trip began. Oh, I'm driving. Okay, cool. With this eye, you got cozy in your. Oh, wait, no, I didn't. No, I'm in the shotgun.
Thank you.
Hold on, sorry, that got me. I pulled out of the driveway. Or is that saying both of us? Sorry. With a small sigh, you got cozy in your seat and watched the familiar houses in your neighborhood pass by. Cove reached over to turn on the radio. Crackle of static mixed with odd snippets of song filled the car as he flipped through the stations. Mr. Holden's car was in good condition, but, well, it was older. There was no way to plug in the phone to play music, so the radio had to. He eventually settled on a classic rock station before sitting back and resting both hands on the wheel. Is this okay? I'm not a big classic rock fan. I like metal and stuff. Can I change it? Sure. You took over the station, cycling through different ones, before settling on something you both approved of. Time flew by, and with it, the scenery outside your window became more and more unfamiliar. Neither of you spoke for a good long while, but the quiet was comfortable. You had become all too used to each other's company over the years. Eventually, Cove broke the silence, clearing his throat softly before he spoke. It's been too long since you and I have spent time with my mom. I know she still comes to the neighborhood sometimes, but it's not even once a year. I'm always going to hers. I'm happy the two of us are doing this. Yeah, me too. Your elbow resting on the windowsill, you gazed out at the world that was slowly coming to life as the morning rolled on by. The sun climbed higher in the sky, forcing you to adjust the visor overhead to keep it out of your eyes. Yeah. The long car rides are, I know what that's like because, multiple times I have had to drive to Texas for family and stuff. Or not me personally, me and my family going to Texas, whatever. Anyway, do you mind reaching back for me? Oh yeah, he likes, what is it, salt and vinegar chips? Or is it something else? Cove gave you a sidelong glance as he drove, indicating with a nod of his head and a tiny smile, and with some chips, the salt and vinegar ones. I can't believe I remember that. I don't know if I like salt and vinegar. I don't know. I really can't. I don't know if I like it or don't like it. Stretching out of the seatbelt to give yourself space, you twisted in your spot to reach into the bag holding the snacks. It took a bit of effort to sort through the collection of goodies stuffed inside, but eventually the bag of chips crinkled beneath your fingers as you pulled them out and sat back in your seat. Here. Thanks, do you mind opening it? Yeah, I know, he wants me to feed it to him, I remember. His eyes lit up at the prospect of the snacks, and you shook your head in amusement, propping top the bag open. You want me to feed them to you? I'm teasing him. You want me to feed them to you like a little baby? Honestly, that's what I would do. I would literally be like, oh my god. Oh my god. Where's game? The game is not here. I'm not retrying this. I'm not going back. This is like an audiobook. That was like an audiobook. I hope you liked your audiobook. I hope you liked it. Cause I'm not going back and reading the whole fucking thing again. Fuck you. Oh. That's why I need people on my stream. I need people to watch my stream so they can tell me if I don't have a fucking game. Anyway. I say, you want me to feed them to you like a little baby? That's what. That was the joke. That was a joke. I'm kind of sad now. The mood is ruined. The mood is ruined. The mood is ruined. But yeah, I would tease him. His eyes wide and a hint of a blush creeping over his cheeks. But he steadfastly continued to face the road. No, that's okay. Can you pour a few into my hand? Yeah, sure. Thanks. He doesn't want me to. He doesn't want me to. He's just like, just give me it. Just give me it. Cove held out an outstretched hand. You did your best to have the chips fall into his palm, but some did end up on the floor. After you rolled up the top of the bag and stowed the chips safely in the bag again. When you turned to the front, it was to find Cove crushing the fistful of chips into his mouth, crunching loudly. I never noticed he's a very messy boyfriend. You know, does he chew with his mouth open? I don't know. He's like. Just imagine Cove fucking Holden doing that. Alright. Enough of making fun of Cove Holden. Let's play it. He wiped his hand on his pants absentmindedly before grabbing the wheel and spilling crumbs all over the place. Like a little kid. I never did that. He snorted and pulled a hand from the wheel once more to flick the salty residue from his fingers at you. With a gasp, you raised your arms to defend yourself. You shook your head at the mess of crumbs that fell from his mouth as he chuckled. See what I mean? See what I mean? That's why I offered to feed you like a baby. Because I know you would make a mess like this. You baby. Alright. The hours drifted by much the same way as that, with the two of you snacking and chatting as the day stretched on. It was fairly calm and quiet. Traveling alongside the open road, you found little in the way of interruptions. At one point, you passed a "Welcome to Nevada" sign, and Cove gave a tiny cheer. He was in disbelief that the two of you were seriously all the way in another state like this. Eventually, you had to stop for gas, and made a detour at a small diner to grab a proper meal that didn't consist of chips and candy. Oh yeah. After fueling both the car and your stomachs, the drive was back on. Just as the sun began dipping beneath the horizon and bathing the sky in a wash of orange light, Cove informed you that there wasn't too much longer left to go. You were almost there. I would say take shifts. The route was fairly straightforward. And you had enough practice with driving to feel comfortable doing so. The night eventually fell into a blanket of darkness, and the drive finally came to an end. Cove pulled into the parking lot of Kyra's apartment building. The glow of the car lights disappearing as he turned off the engine and let out a heavy sigh. We made it, we're here. The two of you exchanged tired smiles, having successfully and safely completed one half of the trip. You're relieved to have actually arrived and eager to get out of the car and stretch your legs. It took the stairs up the building together. After a knock, you were abruptly met with a flash of green hair as Kyra opened the door and immediately took her son in her arms. Now, look how tall he is compared to his tall mom. There he is, my gigantic baby boy. She squeezed him for a moment, then pulled back so she could examine his face. Are you even taller than the last time I saw you? Cove gave her a fond look as she patted the top of his shoulders proudly. You say that every time I'm here. It doesn't even make sense right now. My last visit wasn't that long ago. Would it make more sense to make this a TV show rather than a movie? I've talked about my plans of making a movie. If I was ever, like, rich. Anyway. You say that every time I'm here. It doesn't... Oh, yeah. Read that. Kyra simply laughed before letting him go fully and ushering the two of you into her apartment. Then she turned to you, a wide grin pulling at her lips. No, it's nice you came along with. And as bonus, you both arrived in one piece. It's good to see you, Kyra. It's been too long. Kyra beamed at you both. And while you both have love nothing more than to settle down and rest after the drive, you could see she clearly wasn't going to let you go that easily. How was the trip? I admit, I was just a pinch worried. Ugh. We barely made it because of this guy. We barely made it. He almost killed us. Save me from the monster that is Cove. He's a maniac in the road. Yeah, anyway. Cove gave you a dry look, a small smile tilting his lips. We handled it just fine. He almost killed us. He's so horrible. He almost ran over an old lady. Alright. Anyway. You see how great of a boyfriend I am? Alright. Kyra clapped her hands together, the bracelets around her wrists jingling. I'm so proud, I can hardly believe how mature you both are. Where did all of those smarts come from? Cove ran a hand over his hair with an awkward chuckle. I don't know, maybe I guess some from my parents. His mom looked at him deeply, her eyes glistening as she shook the sentimentality off with the wave of her hand. You have to be half asleep already. I don't want you to keep up much longer. Early mornings and any woozies. Sorry. How do you want to deal with these sleeping arrangements? only got my own room and Cove's. Though this living room couch isn't bad. I'm still gonna use my bed. I'll just sleep on the floor. It doesn't matter for one night. Kyra laughed out loud, startling you both. You raised an eyebrow at her outburst, giving her a quizzical look. Oh yeah, you'll just stay on the floor. You couldn't handle that much back when you were 13, with both your parents in the room. Oh. Damn. Alright. Cove blushed a dark red and gaped, completely unprepared for her to pull out that embarrassing moment from the past. Her laughter continued unabated. You're gonna be driving tomorrow. Do you really want to risk another potential head injury? Oh. Hey, Mom. His long days. His long days. Cruel to tease poor boy so late, even if it's true. Cove hung his head in defeated embarrassment while you and Kyra chuckled together. You're right, I'm just so happy you're here. I'll sleep with... I'll take the floor. Cove shook his head, dismissing the idea immediately. No. You're the guest. I'll have the bed. Fine. Thank you for the offering. So, would you be okay with me sleeping on the floor in the room? I'd rather be there out in the open, even if there is a couch. Oh no, yeah, you can sleep there. Kyra giggled softly, drawing your attention back to her. Funny stuff aside, you need to get sleep for tomorrow. Seems like you're setting yourselves up for not getting any. I know that sounds really captious, but I'm a mom. I have to say these things. Come on, we're not little kids having a sleepover. We're responsible adults, right, Snow? Very responsible. Well, I am Cove. Cove is, I can't say the same for myself. That is the truth. With a crooked smile, Cove shrugged and made a small, amused noise. I'll leave it at that, for now. Just remember that the walls are thin in this apartment. If you can't settle down and sleep, I might have to separate you. It'll be good. Perfect. Kyra clasped her hands together, her bracelets softly twinkling against each other. Again, it's only getting later, so I better let you prepare for bed. She nodded towards the hallway and giving you a small smile. I'll play hostess for a second and show you where the bathroom is, Snow, and where you'll be staying for the night. Thank you. You hoisted your travel bag back over your shoulder and followed behind Kyra and down the hallway. Cove shuffled behind you, disappearing into the bedroom while his mom had you go to the restroom. The apartment was small but nicely decorated in soft, cool colors with plenty of artwork hanging on the walls to give it character. It was stylish and exactly what you should have expected from someone like Kyra. After being shown the bathroom, wishing Kyra a good night, you headed into the room and found Cove already there. He changed into a sleepwear for the night as well. Looking around, you found the bedroom to look much the same as the rest of the apartment. With small ocean elements, you were sure Cove must have enjoyed when he stayed here. All in all, the room was pretty and clean, though it almost looked more like a hotel guest room than a bedroom. Cove only spent a few weeks out of the year, so it made sense that it wasn't especially lived in.
So?
What do you think? It's pretty nice, huh? My mom always keeps it clean and everything, even when I'm not here. It's a great room. Cool, I'm glad you like it. He seemed pleased with the response, and gave you a small smile before opening the zip on his bag. When you went back to the room, you jumped in bed, under the covers, just as Cove was shuffling into his sleeping bag on the floor. Well, I want him to sleep with me. Why can't he sleep with me? Alright, I think you can get that. You waited until he settled in before you flipped off the lights, and a soft glow from the outside peeked through the blinds, casting shadows over the floor. You closed your eyes, blocking everything out.
Night.
Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bugs bite. The room grew quiet, as the two of you wound down for the night, and you found yourself listening to the sounds of the city outside the window. The noise out there was so different to what you were used to back home, cars zooming past and people out having fun. Instead of crashing waves and the ocean wind cocooning your house in their embrace. Cove shifted around his sleeping bag, making the fabric crinkle loudly. I've outgrown this thing. I should have checked it earlier, but the trip was kind of a short notice. Why don't we share? It's big enough. Coven held deeply the fabric of his sleeping bag, crinkled loudly as he fidgeted beneath. I told my mom I was gonna stick. You frowned, wondering when that had ever stopped him before. Did you really plan on going through with that? No. He hesitated a little, the silence stretching between you. You couldn't help but smile to yourself. You knew him well. The sleeping bag rustled again, and through the dim light, you saw him stand and head towards the bed. He took in a deep breath as he ran his hands across the top of the blanket, gathering his nerves as his eyes met yours. Then he paused, head tilted to the side as if asking permission. Well, what are you waiting for? Just like, I'll just make the joke of, don't hit your head on anything. No, stop it. Stop making fun of me. It's like, I will never stop. You wanted to stop? Break up with me. It's like, what? Break up with me. Right here and then. If you don't want that, if you don't want it, you don't want it. Anyway, you shuffled over to make room for him as he pulled the bedding up and crawled beneath the covers, leaving the two of you close together, but not quite touching. He exhaled a heavy breath as he laid down on his side, his head getting comfy on the pillow next to yours. He smiled softly through the dark, thinking it felt good to have him so close. It felt better when he was around. He raised his fingers and delicately brushed the tips of your cheeks, drawing a shaky sigh from your lips. His touch was warm and feather-light, making you feel tingly all over. When his eyes met yours again, you found yourself lost in them, the world becoming still and silent around you. Then he froze, his muscles tensed as he closed up like a clam and his breath hissed in his throat. He attempted to whisper something, but was completely lost on you. Without having to suffice as a warning, Cove jumped out of the bed and crouched down on the floor, his head held in his hands as he took in a deep, stuttering breaths. He bolted upright in bed, staring down at him with a mixture of alarm and amusement. Are you okay?
I'm always like this.
I thought it'd feel like it did before when we were younger, but it's different now. I'm sorry, Snow. I'm really sorry. I'm just so... He panted deeply in and out, as though he had just finished running an entire marathon.
I'm always like this.
After finally steadying his breath to a normal rhythm, he crawled back into his sleeping bag and huddled down on the floor, his back turned to you. Sorry. so close yet so far. Oh, at least you tried. I don't know. It's like, come on. If we're gonna be partners, how are we gonna sleep together? If you, God. All right. He made an apologetic noise, acknowledging that he had heard you, but could say no more. With a resigned sigh, you laid back down in your bed alone. The next day dawned, bringing with it the sounds of birds chirping happily outside the window. You open your eyes slowly, laying them adjust to the light as you try to recall where you were, and remembering the unfamiliar sight of Cove's second bedroom. I know Cove would. I would not be awake. As in shy snow. Cove shook your shoulder, and you groaned dramatically and buried your head beneath your pillow.
No way.
No way. We gotta get started. Sitting up in bed, laying out a yawn. Stretch your arms above your head. Groggy. You were used to sleeping in longer than this, and the late night hadn't helped. Boing. The two of you were on completely different wavelengths right now. You pulled yourself out of bed, grabbing a fresh change of clothes in your toiletries before heading to the bathroom. After all that, you met Cove back in his room. He was sitting on the floor when you entered. Sorting through a bunch of stuff in a box, determining what to bring and what to leave behind. Hey, can you pull out the stuff in those drawers? You nodded, though he hadn't even looked up from his task, so you knew he wouldn't have seen. Heading over to his drawers, you saw the task of taking out various items and setting them on the ground in front of Cove. After a while, it became clear that Cove was acting strange whenever you went near him. He was switching over your presence. It happened a few more times before you could take the awkwardness any longer. You dropped the stuff you were holding in front of him and raised the questioning eyebrow. Is everything okay?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry about last night again. You squeaked the second part of his throat about not staying in bed with you. I know you just wanted to be with your own boyfriend and not feel bad about wanting that or being rejected over it. You shouldn't have to, but I do it anyway. He swallowed thickly, struggling to find the right words to explain himself. I do think it felt nice, really, really. It's just also not bad, but good in an inconvenient way.
I mean,
Laying together like that, being so close, it gets too hot, you know? His cheeks flushed with color, and immediately trailed off, his eyes firmly fixed on the floor. Ooh, that is so... Oh, yeah, it's annoying, but it's what I signed up for with you. Wow. Did I ever, like, try that as, like, a thing? I don't think I ever did. That is, yeah, you can see I never did that before. I get it. You will stay the whole night. Next time, right? His eyes widened, a pink tinge creeping onto his cheeks before he could duck his head enough to hide it. Will you? Now that you know what to expect? Probably. Okay, next time then. Yeah. We'll go back to packing. With it more or less resolved, you went back to grab some more items as Cove focused on the box in front of him once again. There you go. Oh, hey, look at this. When you returned to the sound of Cove's voice, you found him digging through one of the drawers beneath his bed.
Neat.
Here's something I definitely need to bring neat. Craning your head, you got a better glimpse of what he was holding. Small stack of papers. Immediately recognized it, the handwriting as your own. Those were the letters you had sent him when he was away. He kept them the whole time. Started to feel emotional. Cove looked up at you when you were sniffling quietly, seeming concerned. You wiped away the tears that were building in your eyes, feeling a little shy. Sorry. He smiled at you, his face softening. Why would you apologize? It's alright. It's wonderful. Thank you.
It's nice.
Those are special. It was important having a peace with you with me when we were apart. Let me turn on camera. My phone is charged enough. Hi. Hi. Oh, you're not in frame. Me. I feel the same way. That's why I gave them to you. Ko smiled, pleased that the feeling was mutual, and the expression became more amused. And did you keep the souvenirs I brought back? Nope. He shook his head with a grin. Thanks. Right, of course. His grin grew in completion. Thanks. Another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see you were making great progress with Cove's room. Honestly, I think the best way to do like a teasing thing is, nope, I threw them all away. Yeah. I threw them all away. They're all... Yeah, whatever. All of them gone. Yep. Anyway. Another hour passed by in silence, and you were happy to see... you were making great progress with Cove's room, with only the closet left to sort through. You took a minute to take a mouthful of water from your bottle and perched on the edge of the bed, feeling productive. Cove glanced at you and paused, putting down the tape gun he had been using to seal up his boxes. You raised an eyebrow. Now it's really strange to see you sitting in this room. Why? He frowned a little, his eyes distant, and his eyes quiet when he spoke next.
That's...
During my visits to Mom's, when I was single in this room, I sometimes think about how you weren't here. It was a weird feeling at the time, and that you just weren't around, and now that you're here in this exact place, I don't know how to explain the feeling. He shrugged it off and smiled a little, as though he hadn't said enough already and didn't want to risk sounding silly. Life is pretty confusing is all. I miss you so much when you were gone. His brows crinkled as he looked at you solemnly, his eyes bright with emotion. I miss you too all the time. It made you feel better to know that somehow. To know that when you were stuck at home missing his company, that he was missing yours too. He looked away satisfyingly, heading over to the closet and the last of the items to be sorted. Before long, every box, closet, and drawer had been thoroughly combed through, with the items either neatly packed up in boxes or organized and returned to their proper place. With a sigh of relief, you glanced around the bedroom and the work you had done together.
All right.
We're done. Good job to us. We're gonna change out of my PJs for the drive. Yeah. When the two of you headed out into the living room, ready to get everything finalized and hit the road, you found Kyra in the kitchen, pouring a cup of tea. Cup of tea. How did the British say it? I don't know. Cup of tea? Oh, wait. Anyway, why am I making fun of the British people? I don't know. The British people. I'm sorry. Fucking hate British people. Alright. Enough being, enough of making fun of the British. Anyway. Cove headed towards her, leaning casually against the counter that divided the two spaces. Hey, you didn't have to get up so early.
Come on.
Are you crazy? Of course I'm gonna have to see you off before you go. You can't sneak away while I'm out cold. She beamed at him and in all honesty, seemed more than happy to be up and get ready for the day. Oh, do you want some breakfast? I got some muesli or eggs and toast. Oh, and some of that fruit cereal you used to love. That's okay, we should really eat on the road. Oh. Kara smiled sadly, a little disappointed but she seemed to understand that your time was running thin. I thought you might say that, in case I packed you some snacks for the
What do
road.
you think?
Even if you don't end up eating them, take it anyway, just in case. You can always feed them to Cliff when you get home and tell him I said hi. Gov laughed and shook his head, knowing his dad would love nothing more than to polish off whatever food Kyra had prepared for you. Thanks, Mom. You really didn't have to. I'll definitely eat whatever you packed. Better save some for me, too. Kyra giggled, hiding her mouth behind her hand. There's plenty there for both of you. She returned your smile with one of her own, before putting her cup of tea aside. Well, I'll help you get the car packed.
Sure.
Sure, thanks. Three of you gotta move on, taking the boxes from Cove's bedroom and heading down to fill the back seat of the car, until there was barely an inch of space left in the back and trunk. With all of you helping, it only took a couple of trips to move everything, and you were done before you knew it. Then it was time to say goodbye. You convened back inside the apartment, where Kyra looked over the two of you with a quiet smile. It was great to see the both of you. Thank you for coming. She gave you each a hug, and you felt a little sad that you hadn't been able to spend more time with her. It was good to see you too, Mom. Cove embraced her in return. The two of them holding on to each other for a few seconds longer. I'll miss you, and I'll visit again soon.
course.
You better. Hey, we should make plans for you to visit us soon. I'll let you know when it's settled. I'd love that. Kyra bundled all these stuff she prepared into a bag and handed them over to you. You took a quick peek at what she had packed. It was fruit, nuts, seeds, hard-boiled eggs, and some veggie sticks. Ooh, that sounds good.
Cool.
Oh, good to see we've got some fresh food options now. The snacks I brought weren't. Kyra shook her head at him and let out a soft laugh, as though she wouldn't have expected anything else. I seriously hope you're feeling yourself better than that at home. Yeah, of course, just not on trips. I can live with that then. She looked over at him fondly, her eyes at last focusing on his face and filling with emotion. I'm gonna miss you, baby.
Me too.
Me too. Well, I'll be together again before you know it. I hope so. Kyra put an arm around you both, pulling you in tied to her sides for one last final squeeze. Have a safe trip, we will. With a last goodbye, you exited the apartment, though Cove hesitated for a moment in the door, his expression distant. You weren't sure what he was doing. You tentatively took a step towards him. Is everything okay? Your voice seemed to bring him back to earth. He shook his head to clear his thoughts, his green hair swaying from side to side. I need to get a new shirt. This is blending in the background. Alright, now I'm back. Got a new shirt that isn't just gonna totally blend with that. Your voice seemed to bring him back to earth, and he shook his head to clear his thoughts, his green hair swaying from side to side. Yeah, let's go. With that, the two of you headed back down to the car, ready to make the long trip home. Soon enough, you were on the wide open road with a car full of Cove's things and only one destination: Sunset Bird, California. The drive went as smoothly as you could expect, with the morning slowly creeping into midday as the miles flew by. After a while, you switched places with Cove and took over driving for a couple of hours. The day flew by in a whir of open road and sunshine, and before you knew it, it was early afternoon. By that point, you had already crossed the state line. Cove announced that he had planned a little stop on the way home. He was quite pleased with himself as you arrived to the Princip. I don't know. Redwood National Park. Shaded beneath a canopy of enormous redwood trees, you drove along. When Cove parked the car, you pushed the door to get out. The first thing you did was look up. Enormous redwood trees surrounded you on all sides, their massive trunks shooting straight up into a canopy of foliage overhead. There were too many of them to count, stretching on and on for as far as you could see. Sorry. You squinted against the sunlight that was peeking through the leaves and dancing on the paths around you. It's great, right? He smiled at you from over the roof of the car before glancing around the place fondly. Remember the trip our families took here that one summer? It was cool going on a journey and seeing the forest in person, even if we didn't stay very long.
So...
And I guess we can stay for even less this time, but oh well. It just seemed like a good time to stop by. Who knows when we'll get another chance. His voice got a little soft at the end. It seemed to be bittersweet for him, being in a place he was so fond of, and not having the time to appreciate it fully. We were pleased to have stopped there. It was a beautiful place to stretch your legs and take in some fresh air. I'll put up with you for the trees. Anyway, there'll be more chances in the future, I promise. Ko smiled, shoving his hands in his pockets and dipping his head. I'm gonna hold you to that. The two of you walked around for a while, completely dwarfed by the sheer scale of the redwoods. It kind of put your view of yourself and everything in a strange perspective. You took in a lunch full of clean forest air, listening to the sounds of birdsong, and the cool breeze rustling through the underbrush, taking advantage of the space to move around freely. However you felt about being there was totally different since than sitting in that old car for hours and hours. You took Cove's hand. He intertwined his fingers with yours, smiling at you as he relaxed into your touch, and rubbed the back of your hand softly with his thumb. Being here again, it couldn't help but reminisce on what else had happened during the trip. It had taken here all the time ago. There are a lot of things that had reminded you of it recently. You took over at Cove, who seemed to be lost in the peace of the place, and you wondered if any of it crossed his mind. Smiling at the side, you thought back on what had been a highlight of that long-gone vacation. I want to see Did I ever do this? Yes, I did. That was a revelation. Alright, Did that. Did that. Didn't do this. Cove instantly laughed at the memory of the bird taken off with Mr. Holden's sandwich. After all these years, it was still a once-in-a-lifetime sight. Poor Dad, he can never catch a break. Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. There you go. Do you remember that? Cove snorted and covered his mouth with his hand. You could still see the flush of pink on the tip of his nose. Yeah, I remember. I almost gave myself a concussion. It's still probably in the top 10 most humiliating things I've ever done. He chuckled at the memory and how your parents had caught the two of you in the loft together after that. I'm sorry about that, by the way.
Don't worry about it.
Don't be. It was kind of funny. You continued chatting about the trip a little while longer, about the things you had seen and done and even eaten. A lot of the memories Cove had of the trip were similar to your own, but you were surprised to hear a few other things from his own point of view. So much had happened, there was no short of things to talk about. The place certainly had a nostalgic quality about it. Hey, Snow. You looked over at the sound of Cove's voice saying your name to find him smiling at you, seemingly relaxed amongst the nature of the park. Has anyone ever told you to have gorgeous eyes? Because you do. Words left his lips and you froze, completely taken aback by the compliment. He blushed, his gaze remained on you. That's another thing that happened during the trip. Oh. Could just say things like that with no warning. Cove chuckled at your dramatic response, shaking his head in amusement. Your spirits were light as you ambled past information boards and picnic areas. But before long, you decided it was time to bring this short stop to an end and head back to the car to get on the road again. Cove sighed when you finally reached the vehicle, jingling the keys in his hands before unlocking the doors.
Well,
I wish we didn't have to go, but we're gonna be responsible and not stay longer than we should. How grown up of you. He smiled slightly, and with that, the two of you jumped into the car, buckled in, and he put it in drive. You were getting closer and closer to town as the sun started setting. You were still far enough away that the radio stations were unfamiliar to you. I like this art. Cove twisted the dial this way and that before stumbling onto a channel with a song he seemed to like. This was a rare gift from the fated in a sea of steck, strange radio jockeys, and grating tunes. His face immediately brightened at the sound of it. He drummed his fingers along the bottom of the steering wheel happily. Sitting back in his seat, he bopped his head and shimmied his shoulders in time to the tune, all while mouthing along to the words. Occasionally, he lifted one hand from the wheel to gesture with his fingers for a specific line. Whatever, I'll sing, whatever. Cove raised a pleased eyebrow at your vocalization. Emboldened by you, Cove decided to speak the words rather than lip syncing. Your voices mixed together, slowly creeping louder and louder as you belted out the words to the song. Every now and then, a word would be sung wrong, and by the end, you were both laughing too much to continue. The song ended, and Cove started over to cycle through the radio stations again. Upon finding nothing tolerable, he flipped the dial off in defeat and leaned back in his seat with a sigh. I don't know what kind of music he likes. I don't know. You rested your head on your hand and stared out the window at the sky. As the sky darkened, watching the landscape slowly melt into more familiar views. The miles went on, and energy you had earlier was beginning to drain away. You imagined home and your family. You'd be there together soon. And I spent all these years living in Sunset Bird, and taking a few weeks each summer visiting my mom in that second room. That's not gonna happen anymore, not really.
I mean,
I can still see my parents, but the way it all works between us has changed forever. He paused, the silence stretching, a serious look stretched on his face, his thoughts far away. I want to see what more he said, because I'm worried about how things will be in the future. So many things will be different. I hope I'm ready for. Cove's mouth pulled into a tight line, giving a small nod. You got the feeling that he understood how you felt. Cove stared straight ahead. Down the long, long road. The path looked like it never ended from where you were. But that wasn't true. Eventually, he found a few more words to say.
I'm so glad.
I think it's good we're able to do this trip without any parents or chaperones. It's just us. We did it all. I don't know. I feel a little more independent now. A little more ready for what's ahead. I'm not sure I'll ever be ready. Thought of leaving home my mom's is scary. Cove sighed solemnly. Topic seemed to wear on Cove, and he made an attempt to find something else to speak on. So I'm kinda sad about getting back. I'm gonna miss having you right there tonight. He cleared his throat quietly, though said nothing more. You smiled to yourself a little, hearing him say something like that out loud. I'm gonna miss it too. And with the feelings confirmed as mutual, the two of you fell into a comfortable silence. The sky outside grew ever darker as the hours passed by. The stars blinking on like tiny fireflies, painted onto a canvas of blue. Sorry, I can't speak. So I really need to go restroom. I'll be right back. Hello, I am back. This really needed to go. Alright. The scenery continued transitioning between open roads, industrial areas, beach towns, and increasingly became recognizable as time went on. You felt somewhat disconnected from the world around you as you watched it through your window, your tired mind growing hazy. It was a strange, reflective feeling, but peaceful nonetheless. On. Gotta share the time. 49, 00, and back. There we go. Soon enough, the world would return to you, and you'd find your feet firmly on the ground. It couldn't be helped. The adventure would end, life would continue, but your memories would linger on. There we go. I'm gonna end stream for this one. We still need to do these two. So, I will be back for that. And I'll see you later. See you later. Bye.